Thursday, 23rd of November, 2023. It's Thanksgiving Day. I am taking a pause from watching some football. Right now, the Cowboys and Commanders are playing. Commanders are trying to stay alive for the playoffs. They have not much real shot. And Cowboys, they're in the driver's seat for the division right now, more or less. So not going to lose much from this match off. Plus, not the biggest Cowboys fan in the world. So I'm going to take this time right now to do this video I've been trying to do all week and say thank you. This won't take very long, but it's longer than the 60-second short I did earlier in the week, and it's meant to be that way. I'm Jake Payne. I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Conversation Project. Now, it doesn't seem like it's very much in some ways. I mean, you may look at what we do, what we produce, and say other folks do much more, better production value, more deeper news, more time, more less gaffes, things like that. But this little engine that could, if you will, has been a long time coming in work and process, and the way we keep it together has been bubblegum and duct tape all the way. So I thank you so much for sticking with me if you've been with me for a long time in my more bitter media, in this conversation sort of realm. I have some folks that have been around since we started this a decade or so ago as a survey sort of thing for daily surveys to just get conversations going forward. The original purpose of the Conversation Project was to turn it into a survey site. Basically, it was going to be a survey project I was going to make money off of with survey folks. I could never quite gather the right amount of people who were consistent in surveys, and obviously couldn't get enough people to pay me to do surveys with that consistent gathering of people. It pivoted to news and conversational news, the stories that were conversational. We took the same sort of lineup, same sort of process we do right now with the feeds on Facebook and Twitter, and we ranked the conversations based on the actual engagement. And we first put out a newsletter. It was newsletter first, which was really detailed. We have excerpts and things like that, and we were essentially wedded to whatever the engagement said. If the top 10 stories are top 10 stories, that's what it was. That was a shtick for that one. We turned that into the podcast for the weekend, the weekly wrap up, which was based off radio programs because I did radio. So the point was to try to make it a radio program and fit it in on the local station and grow from there. That didn't quite work out, so I dropped the time limits and just kind of went with it. Interviewed some great friends of mine who were podcasters, great friends of mine who were around the neighborhood, and just random people. They seem random, but interesting people I knew were doing interesting things, and let them talk about themselves and the news stories and the headlines that week. Timing for a lot of things changed. A lot of things at the radio station group I worked at went really, really sideways for a lot of reasons. The main reason is the marketplace that it was, and just things weren't working out the way I would like them to. I was producing a lot of things for our salespeople to add ads to and sell, but our salespeople weren't selling my stations because other stations were more profitable, even if they were getting overly being saturated, if you will. A mutual agreement, i.e. the company decided I needed to go and I agreed that I was going to go and not fight about it, led to me leaving the station about 2019. A year in unemployment, some work with another radio station group on a smaller scale, had time to get into a studio, but not the resources and the cachet of time to get to do things again. And then another job to overtake that one, the job I'm currently right now, my main full-time job. I'm an operations manager at a university, a small HBCU, and I get a chance to do some of the jack of all trades stuff from my background in media, some marketing stuff, some media stuff, things back and forth. So I get a chance to do some of that stuff, and it allows me small pockets of time to interject and do things like this. But not enough pockets of time to do it as well as I like to. The current iteration of the Conversation Project's things you might have heard is a morning news update, and we take all day where I can just take the time I can to post news stories in feeds in the Twitter and Facebook, X if you will, and then you guys engage in it. And early in the morning, because I'm used to getting up early, I get up, I pull the numbers, I go through all the engagement I need to see, and then I'll pull the stories that are in the tops. I get a chance now to engage a bit more and curate the stories a bit more, so they're not just the flat out top 10, top 8 stories. They're stories that make more sense, stories I can see that are actually continuations, stories that should get love, that didn't get enough love because of timing of the postings, getting them out there. I'm getting a lot of response to that. From that, we regrew back to the weekly show, which is the pure engagement show, the top 10 stories of the week, plus the story with no love whatsoever, the bottom, things like that. Story of the week came about from a challenge of myself needing to do something that was a bit more long format, but not knowing how exactly to pick it, using you guys and what you chose in the top 10 to find a way to do what we did with the Conversations podcast, and how we got a guest to do their news stories. We gave them the news stories, moved them out of order, and let them battle out the headlines, so they got to one, and they talked about that one for the story of the week. That's what I do for my podcast now. I'm getting great response for that as well. What I'm not getting right now is all the love that I really need, to be honest. But there's a lot of factors into that one. 5th month of this year, as I was preparing to go into my office, or literally preparing the next day to go into my office, work on taxes, and kind of buckle down and see where we need to go financially to go forward in this company, because last 2 years prior, it's been one of those things where I had to think, this was the year I'm going to shut this thing down. This year I'm going to pay the Secretary of State to actually pull my filing off of the listing so that I will get these notices going forward. In Little Rock, Arkansas, a tornado, which drifted between F3 and F4 at various places, touched down and began its life about not even half a mile, or less than that, from where I live, and tore through about 4 or 5 miles worth of stretch and road. Took a little jump across the interstate and went up into a couple cities. My neighborhood being one of the first parts, were one of the worst hit parts of the actual detail. In fact, my house hit directly with it. Ironically, I was at my child's school going to pick her up early because they were releasing kids early from school, and then the sirens went off and they made all the parents who were in the cars come inside and wait because they weren't releasing the kids while the sirens were going off. Meanwhile, the house was hit. My wife and mother-in-law were in the house. They are more than fine. The house, of course, was not. Now, it wasn't totally destroyed. The bones were actually fairly well done, and the biggest part of the issue we had was a wall blown out in the second floor, which blew out my daughter's room and her bathroom, and from the drainage of that bathroom, some water damage that caused some other issues in the house. Fast forward 7-8 months, we are maybe 4 or 5 weeks from getting back into the house. We'll probably be done by Christmas, because they want to get the house done. The workers want to get the house done. And we'll probably be moving in sometime after Christmas for a couple of weeks, because we're not in a rush. We got stuff everywhere. We have time to kind of move along with that realm. But with that, in that time, I took a month off from doing this because I had no place to do it. First, we had to find a place to stay. And that took about a week or so to have that actually done. We had some emergency work going forward. Oh, back up. After the tornado, and in the move of trying to get things settled and finding a place to stay, I had another week, because I did this a year ago, in the hospital for kidney failure. Overexertion, not taking care of myself, and something that part of the reason of the going into my office to work on my taxes and see how the money was going to go for this project was a part of that whole detail. Because I was stressing out about work, stressing out about this work, making this haul work to make things happen. So, for a month, there was no conversation at all. And the oddity that was the year prior, because of being stressed out and not having anything to do and losing my mind. First off, I kept doing the newsletter because it kept me sane. Then I went to the videos in their sense because it gave me something to work on. And it turned into what it basically is now, although we've had some updates in the last couple months since we brought it back. Those of you who have been with me since the newsletter days, the strong newsletter days, and those of you who've been with me for the year or so that we've been doing, a little bit over a year or so that we've been doing videos completely before we moved into that other house in those days. And those of you who were wondering what happened when we disappeared in May and came back and was very grateful that I saw you come back to me. And those of you who have joined since we did that, because we've had massive growth since we've moved into this apartment and worked on this temporary place and worked on things going forward. In the last couple months, we've been able to reach over 200 plus views on YouTube for just videos in general. A lot of that's from the shorts push. We've gotten over 800 subscribers. Not a lot in the sense of YouTube, real YouTubers, but for us, after floundering at somewhere under 100 subscribers for forever, being able to get to that number with the work we've done in the last couple months is amazing. We've been consistent in what we're doing. We've gotten the show more pithy, more poignant, more on point. We've gotten more comments and some more complaints from you guys, which is actually a good thing because people are caring enough to complain about something. It might be worth complaining about. That means there's people worth complaining about. There's other people out there who are just being quiet in the background, and so you have to make sure that number grows so that more people are able to actually do some actual compliments. I've loved the compliments. I've not loved every single complaint, but I've taken every single one in stride, and we're doing what we can. The collective we are doing what we can. Here's where we are. I am essentially the Conversation Project. I do have some old friends and some hands who help me out with things here or there, but unless I can get something that's significant in the way of some sort of funding, I've not hired anybody in to do anything work. Most stuff is me doing it and then me consulting with folks on how things should look and working some things out and then moving forward. All the designs, all the work, all the stuff is me. If things are misspelled or misplaced or I get the wrong day in a newsletter because I'm not paying attention, that's all me. I'm looking to have more people to help me build that out, but that's not where we're at right now. I am okay with what we're doing right now in the sense of this is something that gives me something to do that keeps my brain from the wheels from spinning out of control in my brain and keeps me focused. However, as a business, as a company, as an entity that needs to grow, we're not where we are. Let me pause here to say thank you. Because the whole point of this video is to say thank you. Thank you for being with me here right now. With me here in this moment, doing what we're doing. Watching this video, especially if you've gotten this far, because I know the audience on some of these things are extremely fickle and we're not as glossy as many of them. And we're also not as pointed as some of the ones I watch. I watch some of them to the end because I want to see how they work. And some of them are pretty terrible. But these are people that for some reason somehow have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and they're saying the same things that everybody else is saying. We're doing news, so we're saying the same things that other people are saying as well. We hope that as your supplemental source for mainstream and also unconventional news, we have a little piece of your heart. We're not meant to be your number one source. We're not a CNN or a Fox News. We're not supposed to be that. We're supposed to give you sources from various sources, give you a chance to look at those perspectives, and let you love or hate some of them as they go along. Thank you for helping me do that right now. If you want to help out more, and this is the ask that if you don't want to, just bear with it for a second. There is more you can help out to. I'm not going to go deep into detail, but go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. Click on partnerships, and you can see how you can make that happen. The point of this video is to say thank you, and it's the most roundabout, non-committal, just sort of out there rambling thank you that could be, because that's what I do. Thank you. It's not supposed to be rehearsed. It's not supposed to be something that's polished in there. It's just a reality. One day, fairly soon probably, I'll actually write down some sort of pure for marketing value way to produce and push out ways to get more people to sell the thing, to buy the thing. Basically a slide deck for going to advertisers, going to promoters, things like that. This is not that. This is raw. This is supposed to be here. This probably won't get as many views as I'd like it to, so it may or may not survive. I may have to change it to something glossy soon. But we're going to put this thing out here. We're going to make it prominent. We're going to see who watches, who checks out, who likes us. Here's what you can do. Do the free stuff. Go to our website, thisistheconversationproject.com, and see where we're at. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Follow our video sources, follow our podcasts, which are just straight to your podcatcher. Oddly enough, I use Google Podcasts. I know it's dying, so you may have to find a new podcatcher, but follow our podcasts. There are feeds and ways to get to us on the website, online. You can find us. Follow us on the feeds and engage in the stories. So we have more people to engage in the stories, more stories to do. Email me, theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Tell me what I can do better. Tell me what needs to be improved. Tell me what I'm doing good right now. I just want to be told I'm pretty and I have potential. So tell me that and tell me how to make that work out. The partnerships page is something that I'll have a hard time pushing. And a lot of that is just my own psychosis of not believing I'm worth it. But if you believe that what we're doing is worth it, can be better and should be better. I want to make it better. Go to our partnerships page. See if there are ways that we can connect and then we can work together to make this better. Now, the free stuff, email me with suggestions and telling us the stories to talk about. That's the most important thing. But the other stuff will help out as well. I am looking for literally more funds to make this thing happen so I get more work to make it happen a little easier. There are many people who do the bragging about, YouTube is their full-time gig, and after 3 or 4 months they were able to give up their jobs in corporate and now make $1 million doing YouTube. Some of those are more true than others. There are people who have their play buttons behind them all the time showing that it's a symbol of what's going on. And what it really does is a symbol of people who are in the trenches like me trying to get to that spot. It's supposed to be a way to inspire us to get there, but really it's just a symbol of you're not there yet, so you can't take a day off yet. You're not in that zone yet. Thank you. Thank you for joining the Conversation Project on its journey. It's been one hell of a journey, a crazy journey, a tornado and a near-death experience just this year type of journey. We're going to hopefully get some help, organize some things, find a better way to produce things so you can get to it, and work more together directly. That's what I want to do. If you deem me worthy of all this, I think you'd advance and just reach out to me. Email me, conversationinbox@gmail.com, or directly at jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. That's where most of my email gets to. That's the least spammy of my email, so that's the one that I check most often, but everything goes to where it needs to go to. Reply to these videos, reply to the audios, reply to whatever we have going out there. Tell me that I'm pretty and have potential, and then help me reach that potential. I really would like to, with less than 6 weeks left in the year, saying 200 subscribers is a bit of a push, but for the next year, I want to get to 2,000 subscribers. Yeah, saying getting 1,200 subscribers in a year is a bit, but doubling is 1,600. Finding an extra 4 is just finding an extra 4. With 12 months plus, we can do that. The views will come with that. Not so much looking for monetization in the channel because there's some issues with my accounts because of some past sins that may have monetization be an issue. But I am looking for this prestige of getting to a number. 100,000 subscribers is not where we can get to in a year, but 2,000 would be a nice number for next year. And with that number, I can start pushing other things. I'm looking for more direct partners, more collabs, if you will. If you are a news YouTuber and you don't think I'm too cheesy, too weak, let me know if there's a way we can work together. I am more than amenable to being the redheaded stepchild in the 5 square box, but I believe I have a lot of intelligent commentary to give from literally 20 odd years of producing news for the radio business and some TV as well, and an interesting perspective how things go. We can discuss that later. If you're watching this video and gotten this far, just thank you for that, because watching the videos is what I need more of. Listening to me talk, as rambly as they are sometimes, is what I need more. I don't do well with scripts. I just sort of write down notes and go with it and let my heart shine. If you think that's a good thing, thank you and help me do better. If you don't, well, you're free to turn off the video and never talk to me again. It's there. But with so many voices out there in the internet, so many voices out there in the world, there's so many people who aren't being heard. I like to believe I'm giving a forum to some of those people and putting those words out there for others to actually hear and understand. Help me do that, please. For my sake, for others' sake, for your sake. That's all I got. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. As I say, follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/thisisconversationproject. Twitter.com/th_conversation. Email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Our website, This is a Conversation Project.com. This is a Conversation Project.com. That's it. It's Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for a lot of things. I don't have the greatest life in the world right now, But guess what? I have life. I have right now to give a shot, and a pretty good shot at tomorrow. So let's see what we'll do on tomorrow, or the next tomorrow, or the next tomorrow, or the hopefully hundreds and thousands of tomorrows after those to go forward. Let's see what we can do together. Once again,